A Catch Me If You Can style fugitive who taunted police in videos he posted online while on the run for 2 months has been arrested at Williston, north of Adelaide. Jessica Adamson was at his court appearance.
48-year-old David Brooks, who claims to have Bikie links, faced the Elizabeth Magistrates Court this afternoon, accused of breaching his parole. He was arrested on the Sturt Highway yesterday afternoon after South Australian detectives stopped the vehicle he was in. Brooks was serving time for drug matters but was granted parole in February and has been on the move ever since. He's taken to social media in that time, taunting and ridiculing New South Wales detectives in what he dubbed memoirs of a wanted man.
G'day all, just a quick morning video. Hello, still living large, on the run, walk, sit. Actually, I'm not running at all. I'm just doing my thing. And a shout out to the detectives at a police station and anywhere. Get your together, you still haven't found me. Okay, I'm not that hard. I'll give you a clue. I'm not in Fiji. I plan on handing myself in tonight. I'll be at McDonald's. I'll have 10 Big Macs, 2 fillet of fish, 5 thick shakes, and 7 large Cokes, and I'll give it to you detectives for your hard works and rewards for capturing me. Just let me go yourselves.
Detectives from the New South Wales gang squad were in court.
Are you happy to have you, man? Yes, very happy. Thank you very much to the South Australian Police.
Brooks showed no emotion. Brooks will be extradited on a Qantas flight back to Sydney tomorrow morning, where he'll serve out the remainder of his parole time, 2 months and 29 days.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got David Brooks.
G'day, Bill. How are you?
Brooksy. Is that your nickname?
Brooksy.
Brooksy.
I don't mind the Brooksy now and then, but yeah, it's Brooksy.
Brooksy, how you doing?
Not bad. Good for you. I've got my little mate here. You might see his head pop up sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, puppy.
Chaos.
So you are an infamous ex-Bikie from Australia.
Yeah, I finally become an ex at something. I didn't get infamous as an ex-husband or as an ex-role model citizen, but yeah, infamous. I tried to downplay it a lot, but as you'd appreciate, the media has their agenda to get a narrative out there, and yeah, and portray us as something they want us to be to sell their papers. So yeah, I'll take that label.
When you were younger, were there a lot of motorcycle clubs in Australia?
Okay, the history of motorcycle clubs, it's like in the US, I understand, like the first one was around 1947. The Outlaws, the first outlaw club come to Australia in 1960, which was an Australian club. It's still in existence. When I was younger, the clubs were a lot different. They were a lot more, they're what we call old school, and they weren't set up for any other reason than a bunch of blokes who like partying and riding bikes and rock and roll and women and big nights. So they had no other agenda rather than they were just social misfits and just run their own race.
So when you were younger, how did you get involved with them?
Well, I've always ridden motorbikes. I've loved motorbikes. When I was younger, I kind of stayed away from them. When I was pretty young, I looked at them. To me, they were big, scary. Like that. They rode around back then in Australia. We had very relaxed gun laws back then. They used to ride around with their shotguns strapped to the side of their bike and that, and you'd look at them and you grab your mum's hand as they rode past and hold on to it for your life. And it was so they didn't really interact with society much back then. They'd just done their own thing, and they weren't a threat to anyone. But as I got older, I started through my life through wanting to fit in and belong somewhere. I was attracted to that world because I love motorbikes and that. And I actually went in for genuine reasons because I went in because I just had a bunch of blokes that had common interests like riding bikes. There was no criminal intentions or anything to go in there. Because honestly, if you wanted to be a criminal, joining the Bikies is the most stupidest move you can do to further your criminal career. You'll end it abruptly. So
puts a big bullseye on your back,
A
basically.
very big bullseye, and if you, even if you're not in this modern day, even if you've got no criminal intentions or you haven't got a criminal mind and you like bikes, as soon as you put that flag on your back, I'll call it a red flag, bang, you got intel, you pulled over, you can't even drive in traffic without being harassed. In this day and age, they've criminalised the actual, to become a bikie, you're deemed a criminal because they've criminalised it in Australia. We've got very strict laws over here. So
how old were you when you became affiliated with this club?
I affiliated in my late 30s. But I had hung around other clubs as a younger fella. I was basically I couldn't be disciplined really. Like I didn't like the idea of being around these people where they told you what to do and you had to follow rules. And that's what I find hypocritical or ironical about these organisations is most people are attracted to them don't like rules, and next in the rules it's like they have pretty heavy consequences if you don't follow them. Like it's so I couldn't even commit to following society's rules. So next one I've got to put more on myself.
Were you already in trouble with the law before you started getting involved with the motorcycle clubs?
I had been to a degree, but I also I wasn't a committed, like I didn't break the law for financial reasons or anything like party drugs or whatever and stuff like that. Nothing too serious. I'm trying to think what nothing of nothing to put me on a police radar and keep me under constant surveillance. I thought I wasn't a saint, but I own my own businesses in traditional business. In construction. I made my money in a legitimate way. As legitimate as possible. Like every business owner looks for ways to lessen their tax bills and stuff. But I wasn't into anything that was considered a criminal activity on a personal level. So,
did you approach them, or did they approach you to join?
It's kind of mutual. Like when I finally gave in, joined. I'd been through a hard time. I just lost some good friends in my life who had died through drugs and that. I lost my mother. I was just lost and I was looking for something. Looking for, I'd say, a family or a brother. Just looking to belong. And I had other friends that come along, and we initially joined with a bunch of mates that I grew up with. So we come in as a bunch of mates, and some of us to this day are still good friends. We didn't let that affect our friendship, but part of ways with many others.
Is it the same way out there as it is in the US? If you're out bad, as they would say, or you're out good, can you still talk to the members or no?
It's it's a very. I still talk to people in clubs and out clubs. I talk to people that's in clubs that I was enemies with them. I wasn't out bad. Because I was in two clubs. One of them I'd done jail for, but that's why I left. Pretty well, I felt kind of abandoned, so to speak. I done my bit, like I kept my mouth shut, which is that's not doing no one a favour. That's just the way it is. You're either about that life or you're not. I'm not one of these guys that's going to go in a heap of trouble whether it's my doings or what I consider my brothers and to start talking to. I've done it. I understand the consequences. Bad luck if I'm copping away. I'm also a kind of bloke, if two of us went down, I'd rather just one of us went and it'd be me, and me mate can stay out with his family, why two people go in? But so it wasn't out bad, so to speak, but there was politics and tension and stuff. And once you're basically out, like you might have had good friends in that particular organisation, and you don't talk to them but there's some there that the friendship extends behind it. So the ones that become your friends, they are called friends rather than brothers. They're the ones I still talk to, and that transcends anything that we'd subscribe to. Friendship. It was a real friendship that we developed.
So what was it like? Did you prospect? You prospected, right?
Yeah, I did, and it was a very quick. period for me, one of them. And once I'd done that with one club, it was basically pre-qualifying me for another, which is kind of wrong. But I done hard yards doing it. Like I didn't get the shortcut, but I done because I put in a lot of work. I dedicated myself and went through it quickly. So,
And what's it like when you get your patch?
oh, the feeling is unbelievable. It's like it's really hard to explain. Like you've worked for that. That's if you like old school and actually value that patch. Some people just see it as a ticket to being an arsehole. Honestly, some people think it's their they think it's their license to print money in that, but I saw it for what it was. And I took a lot of pride in it, and yeah, because the hard work, the people had sacrificed it, it wasn't something to take lightly. And I'd actually been disciplined a couple of times in there through politics and had it suspended for a while.
So what's it like when you get a discipline? What do they say? Give me your patch. We're gonna take it from you.
Well, I won't go too much. One thing, it wasn't my doing. It was a group of people, a few of us, and I was, I didn't lose my membership, but I just wasn't allowed to wear the colours for a while. And you know what? If you want to see a bloke is meant to be a staunch, stand up, tough kind of guy, tears in his eyes when you have to hand that in. That's what it was like. It was like handing over, asking for a piece of your heart or your kidney. So, and it's hard years. You just felt. Yeah, you feel like the little kid locked out from home, banging on the door, let me in. So, my flatmate's just waiting. Sorry, sir.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So they kind of put you on probation, like a suspension?
I was agreed. It wasn't. I was just suspended from wearing the colours at the time, but not my membership. So. I was still an active member at that time.
So you could still come around and do everything
else. I still had equal votes. I still had my position, because when it comes to clubs, it'll be the same worldwide. There's the only people in those clubs that have any say or any authority are members. The prospects and nominees, nothing they can't speak up on club business. And I still have my position to have my say. Which but you still feel like it's a disappointment. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So but I laid them down for the greater good of a couple of us. It was just a situation at the time where there's more politics rather than we done something wrong. And I was the nominated designated driver of the punishment. You know what I mean? Like great day. Yeah.
So now after you get your patch, is there a lot of law enforcement harassing you and things? And can you walk me through a situation?
Honestly, this is one of the biggest problems these days with in this country. The amount of when you're seen associating with a club or just affiliating, okay, if a member dies or something and there's funerals, you all go to the funeral, you got all your law enforcement around there. They're taking every registration, goes there, pictures of every person that comes in and out. They have got roadblocks getting your license details off you, and it all goes on the database. And trust me, once it's on there, it's nationwide, and it even goes further. Your name will be down with Interpol. For example, I would have loved to jump on a plane, come over and interview with you in person. I won't get entry into the US forever, because I've got felonies that you call over there, indictable offences and stuff, and because of my affiliations, I'd get to that airport and they'd take me off and send me straight back if I was lucky.
Yeah.
If I was unlucky, I'd be in Guantanamo Bay sitting there with Al Qaeda and that. What terrorist cell are you with? Oh, just the Aussie bikie, mate.
Especially you when they said you taunted the police. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was after years of their harassment and that I just had my little. I done it quite deliberately. I didn't do it to be a smart ass, but do you want to get into it now?
No, we'll get into it in a little bit. So so during the funerals you're getting harassed and stuff like that. Are they pulling you over on a daily basis? Are they following you around?
Okay, well, in 1 year, myself personally, while I was awaiting trial, or well, I was fighting a case that they'd actually put on me through a like a undercover operation, like a controlled operation they call it, which involved UCs, undercover detectives, and also CIs, confidential informants, and that. But they've created, they've scripted. I've walked into that. But anyway, I was under constant surveillance, and which I didn't even know at that time. That's how stealth they were. When I got to court, the amount I was in the middle of nowhere, and they had photos. So they had them. They must have been up trees or in holes or in camo or invisible or something. But they were everywhere. But with us at funerals, they're highly visible. They're there at the entrance of the cemetery. They make no secret. It's intimidation tactic. It's they'll pull you over if you're on the club run. They'll do a roadblock and no one can go through on their bike. It's quite funny actually, because everyone has to show their license. So just before a roadblock, you see a lot of Harleys on the side and people running off into the bush, and
Because they
don't want to
they
go
don't
through.
want to go through. They don't
They don't
want
want
to
to go
go through.
through.
They're
Yeah.
like, drop the bike and take off.
And they'll be on their phone. Can someone come back? And then someone will come through with a license, and they haven't really done. Yeah, a lot of them haven't got licenses and that. And yeah, like say I'm driving on my own, and which you can't do in Australia no more, except for there's about one state left. You can't even wear colours over here. You can't wear your patch. You can't wear your colours. You can't. They've made it illegal to even have tattoos on you, like club and you have to get them covered up. So, for those guys who got the facial tattoos, every time they go out, they're committing a criminal offence just by going out.
So they're getting arrested just for going out with a tattoo on their face.
Just for going out with a tattoo, and also going out. Like I've had these charges on me, consorting. Okay, if you go out with if there's more than 2 of you, it's a member of or registered as a participant in a criminal organisation. It's illegal. People have been locked up for it and have sat on bail awaiting trial for just going to the pub, to a bar and having pizza.
And
The
how long in prison can you get for that?
Well, it depends. Like, if you get refused bail and you're on remand, well, and it takes 2 years to get it to go to court to get dealt with, you could sit there for 2 years for it if you want to fight it. They just have to refuse bail for it. And a lot of people just, okay, I'll put my hand up and plead guilty and they'll get released. But then that's getting precedent, and it's setting a law like that becomes precedent, and the judge can cite, yep, in such and such versus Crown, this is the outcome. Yeah, a person that's solid to the cause would sacrifice up an infinite amount of time just so that's not there on the paper as a law. Like they would fight it hand and foot, but unfortunately they've got the power to hold you until, like, yeah, they can keep delaying your trial if they really want to. But
Do you know a lot of people with tattoos on their face that are club related?
I know a lot of people with with tattoos on their face, and I know a lot of people who's got things that are club related, but they're not so plain sight, and they have to have like really good intel to know that it's associated to a certain thing. Like, but in this day and age, like it's not a very smart thing to do. Like, you can take your shirt off, you can take your jacket off, but you can't take
your
ink off.
face off. You take your face off.
Yeah, then you might have to buy makeup and foundation, and the people then you might start getting pronouns of some people. But you're not that spiritual.
Yeah,
you're
but
not that
so like
body.
this is the Ohm symbol. So if the police said, "No, we're gonna say that's motorcycle related," they can do that, right?
They could if they want. They could tie it over, or do you know what? This is a bit about. I'm not going to go off on conspiracy theories, but you could have your task force, right? They say, okay, we want this guy. We'll make up this fake motorcycle club, put it out there, call it the Ohms, and next minute you got association with it because you're tattoo. But that's worst case scenario. But yeah, they can basically, once they've got the info out, they'll tie you over anything. So yeah, with me,
yeah,
I can be charged here in this country or in my home state. I can have my house raided by police with no warrant. I can be pulled over. I can be detained indefinitely, held without charge, because they put on me what's called a firearms prohibition order and a weapons prohibition order, which makes me basically, it's similar to be like a terrorist, like how terrorists are treated. Just for, they put this on me, and that way they have you. One of the papers made this thing on me saying gangsters on chains for life or something. Like it was insane, and it is. It's a way of you can't get a minute's peace, and they do enforce it. Like they raided my house that many times looking for these things that weren't there,
Yeah.
and I had to be careful who I had in my house. Like,
Yeah, because if
and
they have something on them, you're
yeah,
getting
it
busted
comes to
for it.
me, and I also had to be careful whose house I visited, because if I had friends that were doing allegedly doing something that wasn't kind of above board, they had like a part-time job that was under the radar, and I was in their house. That gives the police a ticket into the house because they could go to any premises I was on. If I didn't disclose that to people, like, you know, I've got an FPL on me, it's kind of like snitching in a way. Like, well, you've just let the police in our front door. So, but I used to disclose it if I thought it was in the place that might be a concern, you know.
The police do that often. They go in people's houses.
Well, yeah, they knocked 3 times with force, and after the 3rd time they kicked the door down, they're just in there. It's yeah, it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's an overkill. It's a thing of fear, and it's fear and intimidation, and it's also sells papers. The media love it. I'm not saying there is bad people amongst the whole culture. It's more of a modern thing, but that's what the clubs weren't about. They're about motorcycling initially. They weren't there was not one traditional club formed with criminal intentions. They didn't say, "Hey, let's just make up a mafia or cartel on wheels and go out and do this and that." But we're going to put flags on us and say who we are. You know, they weren't formed for that, because if they did, it was a very stupid person to come up with the idea.
Yeah.
Or a very smart person who no one knows about and says, "Hey, all these guys will be me."
Yeah, but the law enforcement in Australia has taken a pretty hard stance against motorcycle clubs.
Very, very well. And I see for 2 reasons. This is getting back down the conspiracy side of things. Like when we had our COVID restrictions and that on, they bring out those laws to the general public. You can have more than 3 people in the car. So I think they test run those laws on us first. And it was it's a way of control, a way to because protests were banned in Australia and public assemblies and that, and so they just want to dismantle a formidable opposition to them first and test run it before they threw it out to the Australian public. I'm sure that's not the entire reason, but you know, they started placing and everyone that was kind of bad mouthing us and saying, "Yeah, you deserve it, 3 of us together." Well, guess what? It all happened to them in the COVID restrictions. The mum and dads that were getting pulled in and charged, and they saw firsthand some of the rough-handed tactics of the police, which, mind you, like for us that wouldn't again, we expected that, you know. I would if a cop got me and threw me in, it was a bit rough. I wouldn't, you know, it is what it is. You take it for what it was. But for the mums and dads out there, they saw firsthand how they are, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, if
Yeah.
you're say you're riding with your bike and you have your patch on, what's the process that the cops go through to get your patch? Do they confiscate it?
Since I've left, I left in 2020 that world. But when I left, they couldn't just confiscate it. They couldn't take it off you, or they could trick you. Like there's a way that they could get off you. If you watch Sons of Anarchy, okay, and all those idiots were jumping in cars with their patch on in the motorcycle club, well, that's a no-no. So if they were trying to take you into custody for something, you'd have to remove your colours off, and then it would go into your property. Then they'd have it, but then legally they'd have to hand it back. But that's before. But once they outlawed wearing those colours, and that enters into a criminal investigation. You know what I mean? So it's confiscated. It's a ban, a contraband. Usually they get colours off members when they raid houses. So if they're raiding the house for drugs or for whatever firearms or whatever reason they come up with, and they find colours there, they'll take them, and they like to parade them for the media.
They'll display them with the guns and everything, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I've actually some of my friends when I was still active had that happen to them, and the colours went back to them after. You know, the papers didn't show that, but yeah, it's like a trophy to them. It's because they know how much it means to a lot of the. It's like grabbing someone's sister, batter them and shake them in front of the camera. See, or like the terrorists do, put the people on the film to the west before they do what they do.
Yeah.
It's just, look, we've got one up on you.
The
So
perp
that's what
walk.
it is.
Yeah. The perp walk.
Yeah, but you know what? Since leaving the world and and you look back on things in reflection, contrary to what people think, I don't hate the police. Okay, I don't like them, but I understand they have a place in our world. They need it for things that they need it for, like to deal with crimes against innocent victims and women and children, and they need it for that. And once you actively hate them, I see you're undermining their capabilities. You put them down in your head, and you become complacent. If you think they're just a bunch of idiots, well, you're wrong, because those idiots have got the technology, the resources, the law, and this everything, and they can. You upset them, as I showed, and one little thing I done was quite deliberate. They'll have it in for you. You cannot win. The only way you can win is that you're aware of how they operate, what attracts them, and just do your best to not attract them. Yeah, there's not like no insect repellent you can wear to keep them away. But once they, like a mosquito, I wish there was. But the best way to keep them away is by being smart and don't be putting yourself out there doing stupid stuff.
Now, if you ride a motorcycle and you don't wear a patch, do the police still harass you?
Okay, well, actually, in the state I'm in now in Queensland, for a while, they went so over, like it's such an anti-police state about it. More than 3 motorcycles can be seen riding together. Yeah. Even enthusiasts and social clubs and that. Even veteran clubs were getting attacked by police, like the Vietnam veterans and that. A bunch of old ex-soldiers who ride together and that. It was not an outlaw club. Even they were copying the brunt of a lot of my charges I had were criminal organisation charges, which I refused to plead guilty to. I refused. I said I'll plead guilty to these more serious charges if you take them off the table. I plead guilty to charges that carried 14 years to take these 7-year charges off the table. I refused. I still didn't. I didn't plead. I said no, because at the minute I do that, it's that is me admitting I'm part of a criminal organisation, and I'll still say to this day it is not a criminal organisation. There's criminals within there, and there's good people within there, but the whole clubs don't sit around plot and plan and say,
Yeah, we're gonna kill this guy. We're gonna sell these drugs. We're gonna move these guns. It's not like that.
It's not like Godfather stuff, but the clubs started going that way. But you know what? Not the clubs. People got power in some clubs and got a lot of power, and they used the club for their agenda, for their business, because they had control over that. The club wasn't designed for that. Or you hear of all these clubs running money and drugs around the world. Do you think all the members get that? No, members pay dues. Members pay to be in those clubs. They pay weekly dues.
Yeah.
Why would you pay weekly dues to be if you're getting all this profit in your a criminal organisation? Why would you pay money to have police attention and to be investigated and to have your balls broken every week with I had towards the end I didn't have general duty cops. They wouldn't come near me. It was always task force. If I got pulled over my car, we sit here and they go back to their car, lock this up, and next minute it'd be 5 cars, 20 cops. Why would I pay money for that? It's yeah. And I was never a problem with it. What's the point if cops come? That's it. By turning it on and being aggressive, whatever, and it's not going to help. I just shut up, go through the procedure, and act calm. If you pose a threat to them, you're just going to get yourself tasered, shot, or roughed up. So it's just play the game. So yeah, it's a different world from that point of view. As I said, you are actively targeted. You saw that. I counted like 80 pullovers on my car in 1 year, where my car was pulled apart. I was strip searched. I was a lot of the times held at gunpoint. Have you ever had been strip searched in public? In plain view, anal, drop your pants into that. Yeah, they didn't care. And you know what? They didn't find one thing in one of those searches.
And they kept doing it.
They kept doing it. And do you think I was going to carry stuff in my car after I've been searched twice, let alone, Yeah. So they done it, and they done it to intimidate me and hoping I'd slipped up and doing something they imagined I was doing. But the only offences I had done was the ones they created and set up.
Yeah.
That's the only ones they could get evidence on, and allegedly I might have been doing this and doing that, but they couldn't prove anything. So they've created something to make that keep the story going. These bikies are big bad. They're negative for the society, but yeah.
Now, did you go to prison while you were in the club?
I went to prison. Okay, here's where it gets complicated with me. Okay, I went to prison for the club. I've been in juvenile homes and that when I was younger. That's a different story. That was just wasn't even criminal shit. It was just anyway. But I went to prison for a club, and I left the club at that stage, and I kind of was between clubs. So I've gone in there pretty well with knowing that my former brothers in there would be a problem if I come across them, and
So you're in prison and you're not affiliated anymore. You got
well,
out.
I was in prison, and at that stage I've removed it now. But I had a big 1% head on my neck on the side. So even if I people in the clubs, oh, what club are you? As soon as they say that, they're like, but a lot of people knew who I was, because people in that you know each other, even if you're enemies and that. And if someone even was my enemy, I still had respect for the person they were. Like just because they had a different flag than me doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just you either go for the Red Sox or whatever, and if that's your team. And people who watch baseball, the same kind of people. They enjoy seeing home runs hit. They enjoy, exciting winning. But I went there out of one club, and that one I would say I was out bad because they knew I was going to patch over. So there was but Australian prisons, New South Wales, they separate different Met clubs. They put them to different prisons, and so if you're in a certain club and you go to such and such prison, they keep you in segro, in like solitary and that until they move you to a prison. That's the remand centre in the main one in New South Wales is certain clubs, and so whenever I got initially arrested, I'd sit down, and there'd be a whole row of cells of with all different people from different clubs. So you actually got to talk to you networked in there, except you didn't see the ones that you had problems with because they separated that. So I went into prison and stuff, knowing because I didn't go to what you call in America PC or that. I stayed in the main with general population, and it's not a very nice feeling walking around every day knowing that someone might come through that door that's got a problem with what you're part of, not with who you are. It's not personal, but yeah. And every time I started to get into the room and get complacent, I used to say to myself, "You idiot, don't get complacent." You'd have to deliberately, because complacency kills. So you have to be aware, and you get through it. It's not a very pleasant experience, and I don't care who a person says they are. If they can go through that and be blasé about it, then there's something not right with them in the head.
How do you leave the club while you're in prison? Do you call them and tell them?
I didn't leave in there. I left before, like I'd gone before, and yeah.
And what did you do? Can you walk me through when you left? What did you tell them? Did you hand in your patch? Like,
well, that was one of the times where they'd kind of asked for it for a couple of, like, it wasn't removed from me, but that was a perfect opportunity as well. My house had just been raided by the police this day. My kid taken off me, my 6-month old baby taken from me by warfare during this raid. My house stripped apart, locked and boarded up, and I had no charges or nothing. And they're telling me I'm talking to the person telling me to go to the church, or called Church of Meeting that night. I said, "Are you serious? I've just lost my kid. My house is locked up. Oh, no, I'm not coming." And it was like, "You better come." I was like, "No, I'm not coming." And I just well, I was homeless from there, so I just went and stayed out of town, out of sight, and there was a few messages backwards and forwards. yeah, you're this and that, and like bad words. And I thought, no. Anyway, then I went approached another club, or they've approached me, whatever. Had talks, and then it was just roller coasted. So if I kind of just stayed away and didn't worry about any clubs and just stayed out of it, I probably would have had a better outcome. But I thought I was back in my. I love to walk that lifestyle, whatever, and I was stupid. I should have just stayed out of it. And instead, ultimately I made problems worse for myself.
So then the
And
next club you join, is it an enemy club of the one that you were in?
pretty well was, but then with me, like they kind of talk to get me stitched up by the first club and punished. It's weird. I won't go too much, but it's very. I'll give him credit. It was very cunning and conniving. And I'm not blindsided. Often I don't walk. I'm pretty aware, and I can see a play coming a while away. But I walked right into this one. But yeah, but I got through it, and then I went back. I stayed with the second one for a while, but like in the end there was a little bit of tension. But you know what? I maybe I broke a rule or two as far as substance abuse or something. But when I was fed out with it, there was no particular reason, and the only thing I can think down was either there was some politics and someone's making a play, because I haven't just sat down and just been a sheep on a seat, and fight, like I've tried to take initiative and stuff, or someone's bring my use of I wasn't an IV user or anything, just amphetamines and taken either smoked or orally or eaten or snorted, whatever.
Keeps you up, right? Keeps you up so you can ride.
It does, and it's you know what, a lot of people do, but that was used. I think that was used to kind of sink me, and if it was, well, fair enough, okay. But the ones, I guarantee, the ones that used it to sink me were doing the exact same thing. It's it's one of those ones where you're partying with brothers or whatever, but they've got something on you, and you've got something on them, and it'll be pulled out. People will pull it out. I won't do it. I've seen people use drugs that's not like I'm on the slows and the opiates, which is highly scorned upon. I've shut my mouth because that's their business,
Yeah.
Unless it's going to bring me right down with them, I'll speak to them. Listen, bro, I'll pull up in hand, bringing me into it. I won't go running to the saying, hey, such and such. But it does happen. But I accept whatever's happened. It's like there's no point being dirty on it. And I did do the offences, like yeah. So what can I say? It was a gift. Me leaving that world was a gift.
So when you finally leave the next club, what's that like? Can you walk me through that?
It was a kind of fallout, this and that, and then by people who me and my other friends actually put into the club, were the ones that played, but not people we recruited. Kind of come and made a power. My good friends who got locked up in jail. Our circle was kind of one at a time. We kind of made plays at people in COVID lockdowns as well. So it was a time when there was no communication between the whole, and one by one disenfranchised. What happened? When it happened, I just didn't buy in it. I kind of, in the end, I left and disappeared. I went underground for like a year and a half. Not for that, for my mental health, my sanity, the police harassment. I see that time in my life. That was people don't understand you've got to understand. I've been harassed by police for 8-9 years. Task forces, designated elite police, not the general duty ones, the Ninja Turtles that get all and masked up. And I've been harassed by them for 7-8 years. I leave the organisation that I was with, and then you got them are they coming at me? Are the cops coming at you? And your paranoia, your sense of security, the whole lot, and having firearms prohibition, all this put on me. I'm a sitting duck.
You can't defend yourself or anything.
I can't defend myself, and they're not going to come around with knuckle dusters or or a rocks to throw at me. And so I'm sitting there. I had escape plans and contingency plans, and if something happened, but in the end, I just lost it because I still had the cops harassing me. Then I had my actual blood cousins who aren't associated that well, but they're in the bloody they're caught up in the delusional drug world, and I think they're their cartel. They're not. These bloody fried tweakers and they got stolen bikes and all this stolen shit in my backyard. They're leaving like bits of tasers and shit in my house. They're using my house as a trap house. I had to throw them all out because the cops come around. Next thing I'm going in for stuff that I hadn't even done because I said, look, listen, you, and it's a female. You know what I'm like. I'm not going to talk. You'll basically put me in jail. They come there. I'm getting done for this. And I've got fucking nothing to do. Get it out of there. Anyhow, I chased my cousins out with an axe. And the cops come around to my house looking for her. And I said, "Is that such here?" I go, "No, I chased her out with an axe yesterday." I told her, "Go find her. I don't give a fuck. I don't know where she is. Go do your detective work." Why would you do that? I go, "I think piss off." That's it. Yeah, but basically, like, she turned I left my house because I went interstate for a bit to look after. I come back, it was like who's who of the underworld from my town. And people going, "What are you doing here, Brooks?" I go, "This is my house. What are you doing here?" It's like,
yeah, they're asking you what you're doing in your house.
because and they go, "Oh, we didn't know this was your house." I'll go, "No one knew," because my house was my sanctuary there. No one knew where it was. So you don't. That's a problem. Modern, upcoming idiots that want to be in this criminal world. They do. Their house is their place of business. That's your family home. That's your quiet place.
Yeah.
Keeps you away from there. Like it's I don't know, Hollywood and the media are responsible for creating a generation of idiots. I blame Al Pacino. If we just stuck to the easy rider films and that,
yeah,
things would be different. You just have a lot of starters riding around long beards listening to rock and roll. But now every idiot's like tweaking and carrying firearms and violent. They're not afraid of violence, which is stupid. It says, I'm very old school. If you're doing criminal and you go and do violence, well, you're an idiot because you're bringing police attention. The less you're under the radar, the better,
What about the opposition? Was there a lot of problems with other motorcycle clubs when you were in it?
There can be, but basically, a lot of clubs have their unwritten agreements. They do have there is a courtesy. If you respect their areas of main roads and stuff, that's thoroughfares. There's no problem. But if you start going in from their street and start doing things around the area, or even if you've got a friend that lives in that area and you go in there wearing your colours and just to hang out and nothing serious, well, that's disrespecting the boundaries. It's it's quite a funny world, It's like you might have a rival club, but unless there's a thing, and a lot of clubs call them AOS, which is attack on sight, then there's not going to be much hostilities. Like you might give each other the finger or a dirty look or something, or there's boundaries there.
Have you had any situations happen?
I've had some good situations that happening where I've actually accidentally worn a club shirt into another club's area because I was visiting the vet to pick up puppies. I had to run out. I was giving one to my daughter. My daughter was in the street, and next minute I'm confronted by there's a heap of them. They're telling me to take my shirt off, and I'm telling them no. There's a big Mexican standoff in the middle of the street, and it was sorted by powers above after. But it was pretty tense at the time. But I've been in I won't say situations or times, but I've been in active when there's what they call a war with other clubs, and it's quite funny. It's quite comic. If you really know what happened, it's quite comical because despite what people think, unless there's a big public event like the one at Milpera where the two clubs were in the car, bikies don't come on motorcycles to go to the war. They'll go on cars or whatever. And so you've got like 3 members from one club driving around looking for the other club, and you'll probably have 3 members of the other club driving around looking for years, and you just keep missing each other because you'll go where they just went, and you never come across each other. It's quite funny, and probably if you end up seeing each other, be like, fuck.
What usually happens? Do they shoot each other off their bikes? Like what?
Some can, some do.
Are they blowing
some
cars?
Some do.
Things?
Me personally, I think letting off firearms and shooting in the public or at houses or where there's people is dumb because if you're going to do shit, you do it. I believe if two different groups have a problem, go out to somewhere that's remote and just deal with it yourselves. As soon as you start to put general public at risk and there's a chance of a stray bullet, a lot of bikies are against violence to women and children, and they really are. But some don't even think that one of their stray things can go off and hurt an innocent child or woman, So
yeah.
Me personally, I don't agree with all that. Like all that's and then my point of view too. Like most issues can be solved with mediation. Like when it goes to like shooting, it just escalates things. It doesn't solve nothing. In the end, it even might take 4 or 5 years. Eventually, the two sides will say, "Look, we've had enough. We lost. Well, fuck, why didn't you figure that 5 years ago or whatever? Before things need to be de-escalated. It's not the way to solve problems by throwing fuel on the fire. And it comes down to ego, pride, tribalism, the whole lot. It's like my tribe, we can flex bigger than you. That's all it is. And at the end of the day, it's mothers putting sons in the ground. It's wives going home, looking after kids on their own. It doesn't solve anything.
Do they take each other's patches?
Yeah, that's in clubs they can. That's That's ultimately it's just as I said. Whether it's the police, another club takes you being a dumbass, being drunk and losing it somewhere. However it's taken, it's a no-no. Because that's just like someone climbing up, going to the White House, climbing the pole, grabbing the American flag and pissing on it. That's what it's like. Or set on fire.
Have you seen anyone that got their patch taken?
That's a double-edged question. I know of people that have, and it's been sorted. Some of it wasn't what it was. Like it was done internally. Teach them a lesson. It's something that it's something that you try and avoid. Like if you've got tensions with another club and you ride solo for the area of your patch that gets taken, well, you're an idiot. Sorry for the swearing there, but
No, it's all right.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Like basically you're told to go and get that back.
Have you seen a lot of people die since you've been in the club? When you were in the club?
I've seen people die in general, like not so much for clubs. I've seen results of motorcycle accidents because you do ride in packs and formations. So people die from that. I've seen people die from lifestyle. But as far as acts of violence and I personally haven't seen someone die from an act of violence. And even though I haven't seen someone die from an act of violence. But I honestly haven't. I've seen people hurt.
So let's talk about motorcycle accidents. Have you seen a lot?
Seen few because when you're riding with a club and then when you're riding, it's one of the most exciting things you can do is to ride with a bunch of other guys on a bunch of Harleys. I say Harleys or a V twin. It's actually the noise, and you're riding formation and pack, and you usually run 2 out, and you're riding at speed. If one person switches off, it can bring down a whole pack. I've seen like the domino effect happen. One club I was in, a member hit a kangaroo at 120 kilometers an hour and had to be airlifted out. I've seen people just run off the road through long runs because they're just tired and they've just switched off. So I have seen a few, and I've been in a couple myself, but not on me Harley, on some of my sports bikes and some of the quicker bikes. Totally my fault. So things on the motorbike can go wrong.
Can you ride a sports bike when you're in a club out there?
Not traditionally, like not with if it's a strictly a lot of the clubs will only accept Harley Davidson, and they'll only accept they won't even accept the Sportsters. So it has to be like a 1340, the older ever or bigger. But then they start letting in the V rods. V rods are pretty quick and simple. Some clubs you can have they're a bit more relaxed than the kind of bikes, but traditionally it's a cruiser style bikes, But always I've been into both bikes all my life. I love my sport bikes too. There's if you want to get out there.
Do you still ride?
I'm still licensed to ride. At the moment, no. I don't want another bike at the moment. I don't want any. I don't want any intel that if I get pulled over and I show my license and you're back on bikes, so blah blah blah. So for the moment, I've put it aside. I'm planning on another bike in the near future, but a sports bike, or something like a Ducati or a Triumph, Caprillas, something like that.
Those are nice.
I don't want another cruiser.
So now let's talk about when you went on the run and you taunted the police.
I did. That's I didn't. It's just kind of eventuated. Like I kind of left to go to uni, which I wasn't meant to for parole, and I verbaled them for a while. I was, I'm here, and I kept in contact with them for a while, just kind of throwing off, like kind of doing the bare minimum. But then in the end, it didn't really work. I've had like elite police in my local area looking for me for. There was a so there was the club I was with was involved in a bunch of shootings at the time. And at this time I wasn't even part of it. I'd left that world. After last jail, I was released on parole. I'd left. I honestly made an attempt to better my life, stop my affiliations, and get educated and do something in my life. Put it all behind me. So I've left and went to uni in another state. Parole. I had 3 months parole left to do, and they said, "No, you can't go. You got to stay here." I'm thinking, "What? I've got to stay here amongst all the people I know and who you told me I can't hang around and associate with, rather than go off into an academic world and study, do something to better my life where you won't see me." Okay, so I've left. Simultaneously, that one of the clubs had some problems and there was shootings. Houses were getting shot. So the cops went looking straight away. It's me. Going to my relative's house, strong arm and standing over him. And I've spoken to my cousin. She's quite distraught. Look, David, I go, look, I'm sorry, Sharon. I'll fix it. So the first time in my life, I rang up the main police station in my hometown where they hosted what they called task force rap for their designated bikie cops, and they had a division up in my area. I rang up there and said, "Listen, can I speak to someone from Raptor, please?" You know, "Why would you want to speak to him?" "What's your name?" I've gone, "David Brooks." Bang, I'm straight upstairs on the phone. I'm going, "Listen, these shootings and that, whatever's happening back in Newcastle, which is my hometown, stop going to my family's house, stop harassing them because I've got nothing to do with them. I'm over in the other side of the country in Western Australia, which is 6,000 kilometres away at university." And they're going, "Sure you are." I'm going, "Here's my student number. Here's the campus. Do your investigations." They said, "Does parole know about that?" I've gone, "No." "Well, no." So I basically put myself in for being out of the state and that. And they go, "Well, they're going to now." So, but my whole objective was for them to stop running around like on a witch hunt for someone that wasn't even there. Okay. And they're asking me, "I didn't know anything about it." I go, "Well, only from what you're talking about. I know that I'm so far removed from that. Well, I don't give a do your job and leave my family alone." That's my attitude. Anyway, I thought, I think parole's tried to ring me and I've answered. I said, "Listen, I'm over. They wanted me to come back, fly across the country, hand myself in, do 6 weeks in prison and to reapply for parole when I only had 12 weeks left of my parole and my sentence to do." And I said, "No, I can't do it. Can't you just let me go? You know where I am. I'm surrounded by academics and books and studying, tutorials and lectures. You know, this will be the enemy. You'll never see me." And they go, "No." I'm going, "Really?" And I said to the lady on the phone, I said to her, "Listen, okay, you're the bunging on with me. Okay, I'll return you the favour. I'm going to be in the newspapers. I'm going to be in the news."
A Catch Me If You Can style fugitive who taunted police in videos he posted online while on the run for 2 months has been arrested at Williston, north of Adelaide. Jessica Adamson was at his court appearance.
48-year-old David Brooks, who claims to have bikie links, faced the Elizabeth Magistrates Court this afternoon, accused of breaching his parole. He was arrested on the Sturt Highway yesterday afternoon after South Australian detectives stopped the vehicle he was in. Brooks was serving time for drug matters but was granted parole in February and has been on the move ever since. He's taken to social media in that time, taunting and ridiculing New South Wales detectives in what he dubbed memoirs of a wanted man.
G'day all, just a quick warning video. Hello, still living large, on the run, walk, sit. Well, actually I'm not running at all, I'm just doing my thing. And a shout out to the detectives at a police station and anywhere. Get your together, you still haven't found me, you okay, I'm not that hard. I'll give you a clue. I'm not in Fiji. I plan on handing myself in tonight. I'll be at McDonald's. I'll have 10 Big Macs, 2 fillet of fish, 5 thick shakes, and 7 large cokes, and I'll give it to you detectives for your hard works and rewards for capturing me. Just where we go, yourselves.
Detectives from the New South Wales gang squad were in court.
Are you happy to have you, man? Yes, very happy. Thank you very much to the South Australian Police.
Brooks showed no emotion. Brooks will be extradited on a Qantas flight back to Sydney tomorrow morning, where he'll serve out the remainder of his parole time, 2 months and 29 days.
And this that I'm going to put up a fight about this. And I remember her last words to me. She goes, "Listen, mate, you're delusional." I go, "Well, So I hung up.
If you want me, come and get me.
After that too, which kind of really angered me. Didn't know, like our police over here, our local LAPDs, local area commands and that, well, local area police districts have Facebook pages. And so my local Facebook page put up this wanted post from me. And they put up a pretty, but I look like a psychopath. And then you get all these idiots going, oh, I hope you get him, and what a scumbag, I'm a drug addict. And they get all these, I'm getting all these comments below my wanted thing. And they're going, oh, he might be hard to find. Look at his tag, because that's my area. And I'll go, yeah, I've got to tell Newcastle next. I'm in Newcastle, just waiting for them to arrest me. They've been like, I was quite pissed off. Like, look at these. I shouldn't have got emotionally invested, but what hurt was I was over trying to better my life. I was trying to say, and here's these armchair bloody wannabe cops commenting publicly on me. And so I started going, like, what kind of person goes on the police page, Fred, starts arguing with someone underground wanted picture? Me, because I was offended. And I'm arguing with these people, not in an abusive way, but in an articulated, subjective, I didn't take a very objective way, and I was cutting them down. They didn't know how to respond because they just idiots, like, who are quick to judge and throw out these things. And when they get responded with something that's constructed into, you know. So what do the police do in all their wisdom? They block me from their page. A guy who's wanted. Do you think they want him to stay on their page so they can run IPs and figure out, that's a sure way to test them. No, they blocked me from their page. I thought, okay, so I thought, they used to block me from my page. So I started making little videos to Facebook at first. Then they started taking off. People, I'm getting inboxes. Are you that guy that was arguing on your own wanted page? Yeah, and I had people tipping me off for things I didn't even know. So I thought, I've got people watching me, and so I started making I was making videos on. I remember I made one, what to do if you encounter law enforcement, how you do the no comment, you just shut up, because if the fact they're asking you questions, they don't know anything. So you just, only a guilty person would try to defend themselves and offer a story to them. You don't need to offer a story. It said that and started offering like common sense things about. And they started taking off, and in the end, I started bunging it on. Like I started wearing like masks and everything, which I didn't need to. It was all costume to me. And my whole point was to bring awareness to. I knew I was going to get arrested. I knew it was going. I'm not a fool. I didn't do it to get away from. If I was doing it to get away from the cops, I wouldn't have gone on done what I done. The media didn't cover a lot of stuff. I was talking about prison reform, family reform, kids being removed from a lot of social issues that needed addressing. I was bringing that up. My first news interview, I was sitting with my mates, and
wait, so the news came and interviewed you while you
were
they
rang me up.
run?
I'm sitting at my mates. We're on some substance at the time of partying and chilling. I was in another state. I go, hey, check this out. This guy reckons he's from the news and wants to do a television like we're doing now.
Yeah.
And they's going, bullshit. I go, no, it's fair dinkum. It's legit. They go, I said, listen, clean the place up. I said to my mate, listen, I know what they're going to do. They're going to get my story. They're going to edit the fuck out of it. They're going to edit it up, and they're going to present it how they wanted me to be seen. And I said to my friend, please film the whole thing. So we got back, so we have it, and he did. And after they put my thing up, and things I've said, they've cut in with other things to make it, and they cut out anything good I had to say, or positive, and the message I was trying to put out there. And my mates filmed the whole lot, and I've uploaded to YouTube afterwards. So it's the uncut version now.
Yeah.
Then another network has approached me and said, "Can you?" I said, "Listen, after my experience with this network, and you saw what I've done with him, I want my story told, and look, I plan on handing myself in eventually." And they said, "Yeah, we'll do it. We'll give you that." They wanted to do it in person. I'm thinking, so I'm saying to them, "Listen, I'll meet you in person, but." What I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you a location. I was going to set up where 3 states intersected. So I could just duck to any state, so they'd have to go get an extradition warrant for that. I thought I was being smart. But anyway, that didn't happen. I got arrested before then because they had a girl, she was an informant. And you know what? She didn't really inform. She just came out from my location because I was smart when I was doing those things. Because I did not accumulate any more. I was very conscious not to get any more fresh charges. So all
Because
they had
now, if you get caught, all you have to do is the rest of your parole time,
time.
right?
Yeah, but I did plan to get caught. I did plan to get caught in another state, for something. Because what my plan was, the task force from my state, they're probably the most hectic. They're ninja, steroided up, brutal bastards, and they're the ones I was harassing. They're the ones I was putting on show and making a mockery of. I thought they're going to get me and dark room me. So I think my best thing to do is get arrested in another state, put on a chase, a small chase. So
Yeah.
I at least get 6 months jail in that state. And by the time that 6 months is done there, everything would have died down. I'll get sent back. The way I was set up, like this girl come on, they put a fucking kid in. She had a kid with her, a young kid. And when the police come and that, I've looked and straight away I pulled over because
Because
I was not going
you
to.
were driving, you had a kid in the car.
Yeah, I
you
wasn't
didn't
going.
wanna go-
Yeah, I wasn't going to put. Wasn't going to go on a chase and with a kid in the car, like, and that's it. I knew it was done. They were smart, you know. But that's the extent they'll go for. They're endangered. They took a calculated risk with me. But I know it was her because tell me how a police and media already on a section of the highway right there instantaneously where you can't turn off at a random time and location. I'd only been in that state for like less than 24 hours. There's no way they knew I was there because the car I had bought off a French backpacker who had it registered in another state and had no ties to my name. They couldn't scan the number plate and say, hey, that's him. But yeah, and when I was getting pulled over, she goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'll verbal him and, I'll just pay you. I'll talk. They don't know who I am. The cops come straight there and he's reached to me window. David, pull me keys. I didn't even get a chance to verbal. Like, fuck. I was done. But you know what? At the end of the day, she didn't even dock me in for nothing. She just told them where I was. Like, it was just a breach of parole, but it was, they had a hard on for me because I stood up to them, put them on show. I was using the technology that they use to locate people to taunt them.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was tired. I was tired of it, but I wanted to get my message across. And I was ready to go in. I thought, bugger it, let's just get this done with. And that was the last encounter. Because when I come out that time, I decided to change my thinking, my ways, and you know.
Yeah, I seen you in the back of the cop car in the news, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
come right.
Everywhere they followed me around. Even when they extradited me at the airport, they took me in the diplomat entrance on the red carpet under there, so because the news were everywhere. They were like following me around. It was like ridiculous, and I'm thinking, well, I've done breach parole, but it's like the cops in the state I was arrested. They were all like looking at me as if I was wow, there's that guy. You know, like the low level cops are fascinated. It's all like most like they were fanboys or something, you know.
They're acting like you're Charles Manson or something.
Yeah,
right?
they're acting as if they're cool and I've done something. Fine. Yeah, they don't. People don't understand. I was judged by the public. People didn't know the story. The media held a lot of the story, and it took me a couple of years of getting it down. Like I could have done something back then with social media and capitalized on something like that, and I didn't. I just wanted it to die down. Because it wasn't it went on for a little bit longer than 15 minutes. Phone calls, 2 or 3 months I was in. It kept on going on the media, and the media were out when I got released out the front.
Yeah, they were outside, right?
And the taxi driver got scared off, and I was thinking, but do you know what? This is quite funny because when I was released, the governor of the jail, and the jail I was in at is the notorious jail in Australia. It had like the worst of the worst there, but not my section. They had the Supermax there, but that's where the Ivan Lat was, and some of the worst criminals in Australia was Goulburn. Goulburn's like it's a be like an Alcatraz if you want put like a high. It used to have a nickname called the Killing Fields. It's not jail's not a nice place. Any jail can go wrong, but that one there's just got a bit of a stigma about it. But the governor of that jail came over and to the pod I was in and said, "Hey son, it looks like you've got a bit of media out there. Can you put in a good word for us?" I said, "How about get fucked?" No, well, I got to go out there and say, "Yeah, the screws, the CEOs looked after me in here, and they're good." They're right. But it's the first time before when they took me to the gates to be released, I said to the screw or the officer, whatever you want to call them, listen, this is going to seem strange, but can you not open that gate, please, until my taxi comes? Because I don't want to be stuck out there with this media, you know, like. He goes, yeah, I understand. So I've asked them to keep the doors locked for me. Then they look at me and they go, here's your taxi. They pull up and I'm walking out to it. Next week, the taxi's looked at me, the cameras, he's fucked off. I had to walk 2 kilometres to the station.
And they're following you,
Yeah,
right?
he's just quite, he's following me. He's carrying a massive camera and he's like, you're going to have your heart's going to, is this worth it, mate? Like, how much you get paid to follow me around? I'm just a average Joe Blow, you know. I just want to go to the pub, you know. And it was quite comical, but I was also a little bit paranoid too, because I was taken to jail to Goulburn, and if you go down my Facebook page, one of the last things I'd done was on the run. My mate sent me a picture of his cop, and told me what he'd done. I'll use legally appropriate words. Allegedly, he done an Epstein thing on a lady. You know, you can't say these words on YouTube. He done something that's not a very good activist lady, and then they were intimidating her and putting bullets in her letterbox. I'll say allegedly, and he goes, "Can you make the whole?" Like the nation, the whole world's watching you at the moment. So I did. I made a post about it, put his photo up, his number, his address, and said this guy's doing these things and that. And he was stationed in the where that jail was. I put that guy's going to be out there and he's going to be in his sights. But it's not going to be pretty, you know. I honestly was honestly thinking that because they believe it or not, the best criminals are the ones that understand the law and can get and fix things up. And the cops are the best criminals because they can cover their tracks. They'll look after each other. You know, they'll cover each other's tracks. And he's his fugitive wannabe, whatever he is. You know, wannabe world leader of the lost souls. Here he is. Disrespecting my own, put him on this thing that's not very nice. Yeah, take him out. We'll cover it up. We'll just say we tried to rearrest him and run or something. You know what I mean? I think, but you know, it didn't happen. Never heard nothing. But that post is still up on my Facebook. It never got taken down. I've still left it there to this day. It's buried so far down the timeline. You'd have to sit there and look for it. It's not worth it. But it was quite an experience. But as I said then, as I come out, I said to the reporter, they cut all funding for prisons and education, and there was no more programs in there. And it was quite wrong. Like there used to be programs in there where people could learn art, music. They could pick up on their literary skills and numeracy, things like that. When I went to prison, every new prison you go to, you've got to do a literacy and numeracy test. And I done one going in there at that time. I got called back in. They still had an education officer with no education in there. And he said to me, listen, in my 10 years of running education at this prison, you're the first person I've seen get 100% on numeracy and literacy. Normally people get one or the other, but you've got both. I got, well, give me a decent test. I was doing general physics at uni and they kept coming and give me a silly test. And I remember there's one question there I wasn't 100% sure on the answer, but of course I got the answer because I ruled out the 2 wrong ones and just wrote the right one. And, you know,
Yeah.
And I said, so what do I get for that? Can I have access to my course? But no, you get nothing. I go, what's the point of doing these tests? They go, because the people who can't read and write will give a basic thing like immigrants or people in the country, you know, like they're going to invest money in them and then just deport them once they finish their sentence. And they're usually like Chinese nationals who are drug runners and triads, and they're quite smart people too. Like they just got them done. And they'll do their time, but the government's going to teach them English, so when they come back next time, they can get better at their craft. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. I gotta.
So
in prison, did you have a lot of experiences in prison? Was it crazy in there? Have you seen a lot of crazy things?
There's crazy stuff in there. There's a certain way you go about things. There's unwritten rules, unwritten laws. Prison actually is actually like a micro condensed, squeezed in reflection of outside society, except things in there can escalate and go to the next level very quickly. Prison's a place where you learn. speak only if it's necessary. Don't talk bullshit. Don't steal. You're in prison amongst a bunch of thieves, but don't steal. Don't steal from prisoners. Don't talk out of school. Don't accuse people of stuff you can't prove or back up with paperwork. Don't walk around with your chest inflated, and because someone will eventually check you. And if you can't, but I didn't go in there. I didn't get involved in this. Things you don't get involved in. Anyone who's looking at prisoners watching this, don't get involved in jailhouse politics. Don't get involved in drugs, and don't gamble. And run your own race. And you'll do okay. It's to me, like, there's still humans there. There's still people. It's not. It doesn't mean you're going to go in there and someone's going to do something to you in a way that you won't like. Like you're not going to get a new bedtime partner that's uninvited. It's not happening. Just because people go behind bars doesn't turn them into maybe someone's been there for 30, 40 years and you're a pretty cute looking kind of guy. Well, maybe, but I'm joking. But people are still people. I didn't get involved. I didn't speak out of school. I didn't have, I didn't have any run. I was just another person going through. I didn't stand out, or I didn't go too far. Like if you go too far under the radar, people get sus on you and be like yourself, sit in your cell all the time. You don't socialise. Now people they'll get paranoid on you. Who is this person? And that there's my advice to anyone that's going there is don't be scared. Just be you. Watch, observe, learn, and you'll pick it up. In the end, like prisons, it's an inconvenience. I'm not underplaying what can go wrong in there. Those who know, and I'm the kind of person who will adapt to any situation. And it's like a chameleon, or I'll fit in with my environment. I won't be fake. I'll just adjust to the environment. Like I won't go out of my way to be part of it. I'll just I'll just go through. But basically, everything that's happened in my life, the clubs, prison, and I won't deny it, but I won't glorify it. I've seen like on YouTube and stuff, especially YouTube and a bit of TikTok. There's a lot of gangsters and ex-criminals and doing prison stories, and they're telling how tough they were in there, and like hectic stuff and that. I saw stuff in there, but that stuff belongs in there. I wasn't hectic. I wasn't a standout, but I wasn't. I just was. My whole mission now in life is to put a message of positivity into the world, a message of hope, because there's a lot of people, especially through this pandemic, and especially now, and my prayers go out to that these tensions that's happening in the world at the moment de-escalate, because it's the same thing as the clubs, and as it's just two big egos flexing and pissing and seeing how far they can push each other. But there's going to be catastrophic circumstances, and each side's accusing the other, blah blah blah, of doing all these horrendous acts. Both of them are. Any war at this stage is that's the last thing we need as humanity. We need to just learn to run our own race and live in peace and coexist. Life should be free of tension, should be free of drama, be free of conflict.
If there's a kid watching that maybe is interested in joining one of these clubs, what would be your advice to them?
Okay, my advice is go ask two different people. Go ask a script writer from Hollywood if you want to get the version that you think is happening, or go ask someone that's been in it, get the real version. But with anything in life, if you want to do anything in life, question everything. Get multiple sources. Don't just listen to someone that's talking good about something. Go to a member. Go to an ex-member. Go to a law enforcement and say, hey, if I was a bikie, would you? And ask them what they do, and they'll be straight up. Amongst all that, somewhere you'll get the truth. But basically, my advice to any kid is follow your own heart, follow your dreams. Just question everything. And if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. In this day and age, in Australia, in my country, I would strongly advise against it for the simple fact that you're subjecting yourself to a lot of laws, a lot of pressure, a lot of lack of livelihood. It will restrict your working. It'll limit what licensed premises you can go to. It'll limit who you can hang out. We've already got all our own laws in this country. Then you're going to have a set of other laws, and some of them will conflict with the laws in our country. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Sons of Anarchy, you got a lot to answer for. It's like, that, and you know what? And I'm not going to talk on that club or anything. I can't believe, and I know my history and politics of different clubs around the world. It becomes public. I can't believe Sonny Barger was part of that Sons of Anarchy production. That was a joke, you know. So
It's
that,
crazy.
yeah, he kind of portrayed everything it was about in a way to a commercial level, but yeah.
For a dollar. For a dollar.
Right.
They did.
And that's the thing with a lot of these bigger clubs too. They're actually registered trademarks.
Yeah.
They're corporations. They're, you know, on one hand they're apparently doing, but they've got trade, and they'll go sue someone if they misuse their logo. Like you can buy club patches off Temu and stuff these days. It's a joke.
Yeah, you could.
It's a joke.
Now you got a YouTube channel where you tell stories. Do you want to tell the people where they can find your YouTube channel?
At the moment, it's called Brooksy's Cafe of Perceptions. I'm trying to think of sometimes I couldn't even find my own YouTube channel, but I'm building it up now. It's not just about the criminal genre. Like I put life experiences on there. But I remember I watched one of the fellows you interviewed, Jack was the Sicilian guy. Yeah, and he pulled his shirt up and showed his scar. Well, I can look at mine. That's called the bypass surgery. That rivals his one. So I've got stuff on there, like my experience with my bypass and that. It's not just about. I actually had someone comment on one of my posts today. I thought you were going to stay clear of the prison genre. I go, well, I have. I'm talking about my experience. I've got everything on there. I've got from cooking omelets to dealing with grief to my experience with my bypass. I cover anything that it's about survival and it's about hope and it's about living through adversity and turning the odds around. No matter where you've been in this world, you can flip the script because you're the master of your own destiny, and it all starts up with the way you think, your decisions and stuff. And as I said, to sum up, like as far as the police and everything, and them destroying my life for 7 years. Do you know why they destroyed my life for 7 years? Not because they're cunts, not because you can beat that out. Not because they're just because I let them in my head. As long as they had hold of me, because I gave them that permission to upset me. And the minute I stopped focusing on them and their negative, and they just magically vanished from my life. The minute I stopped trying to fight the system, and believe me, there's a lot wrong with our system. A lot wrong with what we believe is a way of basically everything in this world we see is a lie and illusion set there by very powerful people because they profit and that from it. Once we take our mind off it, we're free and we can get on with our lives. So that's what my channel's about, just freeing people's minds to don't worry about who's doing that, what's wrong with this, and worry about what's good for you and just pursue your thing. So just Brooksy's Cafe of Perceptions. Also, I'm working for North at the moment. There's a book coming out, and it's going to cover some real sensitive topics. It's going to touch on my being on the run and that, but it's going to go back to the roots of where all my troubles or all my trauma and that started, which was happened for crimes against when I was in children's homes and institutions. Which, if you look at any major criminal in Australia or any around the world, I guarantee there has been some kind of abuse, some kind of emotional trauma, some kind of physical trauma when they're in their younger years, and it carries over and it damages society as a whole. So that needs to be addressed, and people need to find the courage to come out and talk about. So I'm going to talk about some in my book, and hopefully people can have a set of new eyes, and we can change the world by just thinking different. That's all it takes, is thinking different.
When will your book be ready? When will your book be ready?
We've just started. We'll talk about it for a while, but we're just starting on kind of narrating notes, and we're kind of co-writing it. It's also I won't speak on behalf of Nathan, who's he's actually got a couple of publications out already. He's done quite well.
Next year sometime, probably.
Yeah, maybe probably a couple of months. These things, But so I'm not. I don't know the publishing process. He does all that. And it's also how much time he's got as well, because he's got family. He's got to work in his family business, and he's got commitments. But we're putting a bit of time, and it'll be out soon. I'm also looking at doing some speaking engagements in real life, like sit down and functions, dinners, and that with a couple of other people with a story to tell, and not so much a story of bragging about their criminal exploits and that. You know, I believe those things can be used because people have interest in it, to capture their attention a bit, but then put your real message out. Don't stand there for your ego, because your ego can be stopped with a bullet. Nearly stopped Trump. Sorry, I should say that, but I'm just saying it can happen. If it can happen to him, it can happen to anyone.
100%.
Yeah, you put yourself out there and that, and you know, you gotta have people. There's always someone, but the thing is, though, the more people you get coming at you, the more your message is being heard too. So it won't put me off. Like, but it's for a good reason. It's not for self. It's for yeah. I've honestly got a desire to help humanity in some way heal, like, but not like everyone to have that same attitude, not, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you have an incredible story. We're gonna have you on again. We're gonna do more of these because you have so much to explain that we could just keep going on and on. But I want to keep it where we'll do blocks of them. You know, we'll have like a whole series coming out.
Oh, then I'm happy to be part of you. Like, you're an awesome guy. And I've watched some of your stuff. I love your honesty. I respect your courage.
Thank you.
Some of the things you're speaking, I can't because I don't know. But you're over there. I don't know. I don't really. My opinion on things, like, you know, doesn't really matter for anything. Like, my opinion on this war coming up, I'm not going to say which side's right or wrong. Everyone involved's wrong. You know. You know what? Clubs and nations are similar. The way they get people to follow blindly is through loyalty, flags, patriotism, being, you know, tribalism. Man, we're all one tribe. The whole world's a tribe, you know. But always,
I was talking about that with Breeze, the guy Breeze I was interviewing.
Yeah.
And he says the other side is just like him. They're all the
100%,
same.
100%. And like with Australia in the First World War, we went to Gallipoli, Turkey, and there was a vicious trench warfare there. Both sides agreed for ceasefire, had lunch and like Christmas or whatever, and we're the greatest friends with our enemy these days. Australia and Turkey, we go there every year to celebrate what's called Anzac Day, or a lot of our the two sides have a lot of respect for each other, and they realise, hey, they're just like us, and they're fierce, determined. Like Aussies are known for, back in those days, for their resilience and stuff. And but also with me and my heritage and ancestry, that I'm part Indigenous from this country. I'm also, my direct ancestors were first fleeters, so the first people to come in. My great grandmother and great grandfather, time 6, were the first white people to come here, and I've got mixed heritage. And that, to me, what's tribalism, what's patriotism? Like, we're all made up, but most of us are made up everywhere. Like, show me one person that, you know, a pure blood of anything. I don't know, but, I don't know. I've just got a different perception on the world, you know. But there are bad people out there who's got ill intentions. So I just avoid them. You know,
well, you have a positive message, and we're gonna get this out to the people. I can't wait to have you back on. We're gonna have you explain some more stories, and make sure you guys go follow his YouTube. I'll put a link in the description of this video. Go subscribe. He's got a lot of great stories. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we go?
I'd just like to give a shout out to any person out there that's taking steps to put positive change in their life. Those who's overcoming addictions, those who's trying to reform from prison, those who are unemployed, anyone who's got adverse circumstances and has the courage to accept it and keep going. A shout out to you guys. You guys are the reason that I'd like to push this message, because I'm that person as well. So anyone that's out there that's brave enough to make a change to their livelihood, I thank you and appreciate you, because it doesn't just help you, it helps the world as a whole.
Thank you, man.
No worries. And thank you to you too.
Yeah, no doubt. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad, start your own podcast. Peace. Thanks, man.
See you, bro.